Alright, chapter 108 of Twin Star. Here we are, once again. It's been a month. Tsukeno's still giving us great color art. It is coloring so good. And man, this video design, it kind of growing on me. Okay, so are we going on another raid? What are we doing here? All right, so we have an alternative method. Okay, so what is this alternative method? Okay, I do like when we get a little bit more lore of Yuto, because like there's still, even to this day, I think, not holes, but there's things left open about Yuto and his motivations, what he was actually up to. So I think it's cool to get a little bit more about Yuto. It's always a nice little thing to get. Wait, what the fuck? I'm sitting here adjusting my mic. Oh, they're just gonna... Alright, so they're gonna try and turn all the humans into yang energy? Okay. Oh, Benio, stop. Stop giving me those looks. It's not comfy. It's not comfortable. I'm not okay with it. Stop! 2013, baby. What a great year. My man was coming for the save. Look at him, turning into one of the best characters. I don't even remember his name. He's great, though. Well, I guess this is giving Suzu some merit, I guess, other than just her titties and sexual harassment. Right, so I guess in this regard, for the Kagare living in Outcast Valley, the King of the Kagare, at least for the moment, is a little bit of a necessary evil. Just absurding the current situation, would create chaos, I guess. So a little bit of anarchy, with no established power or hierarchy. Everything just kind of becomes chaos, right? So, I mean, I guess that makes sense. And then, yeah, ultimately, it would be switching over roles to, like, someone else being the power-hungry king that kind of establishes the way that the world works. And for these guys, that might not work out in their favor, right? Yes, what would Jesus do? What would Rokuro do? That's a statement and a half right there, my boy. Yo, let's go. Oh, dude, Kamui so pretty. Why is he so pretty? Why am I gay, Mom? I don't know what's happening to me. I've got all these feelings. Why, Kamui? I mean, this is like such a long time coming, right? Like getting the Exorcist and Basara or Kagare at all to like work together for a common goal. I mean, that's something that you don't really go into the series expecting, but for a while it's felt like, well, at least one day Kamui will be a good guy, right? Or he'll play for our team, right? Like, I mean, it's been kind of expected to some extent, but this is like a pretty cool way of going about it. Mama, yes, step in, take the reins. Top 15 characters in Twin Star Exorcist. Sagan, what's going on with his eyes? He doesn't look half as menacing as usual. What is that derpy ass look on his face? Dude, Sagan just looks tired. My boy just looks tired. Not like his usual angry tired. He just looks tired. I mean, yeah, it's kind of interesting because this is coming only weeks after, their raid. Kamui being one of the, the Basra that were there. So it is like, obviously this is going to get an immediate, like, hell no, what the fuck? Are you crazy? So, yeah, I mean, makes sense. And then, yeah, I guess the whole Outcast Valley thing does also kind of throw a wrench into stuff. Like, it makes it a little bit more hard to say one way or the other because, well, they haven't been exposed to humans really at all, so. Oh, best girl? Nani? Uh, um, of course Tenma is the one that comes in, like, it is like, yeah, fuck it, dude, like, I'm not surprised that Tenma is the one. Yo, dude, Tenma's too much. He's too much. Oh, Rokro, you're not looking so good, buddy. Ah, shit, not again. No, Jenner Ben Yuto. That's a pretty good Rokro face, too. uh... Okay, so just as a little preface before going into the actual meat of the review, which has already been recorded, I wanted to clarify that while I don't love this chapter, I do like it, and that's perfectly fine. I think sometimes manga fans forget that when it comes to ongoing series, not every chapter has to be a banger or amazing in its own self-contained sense. What's most important about a chapter in the long run, or the larger picture of a manga, is how well does it fit into the entire manga, and how does it lead into future chapters. So for Twin Star, it's recently had non-stop emotional climaxes, story reveals, twists and turns, hype moments. It's okay if one chapter takes a moment to calm itself down. So, while I do nitpick a couple things in this chapter, what honestly matters more is how does it lead into the next 10 chapters. Because the previous 10 have been great. It's okay if one chapter isn't outstanding. What I care about is, are the next 10 chapters really great? And I think this chapter, its point is honestly to set up for future chapters. So that's all that matters to me personally. So keep in mind that while I'm nitpicking stuff in this chapter, it's because it's all I really have to work with right now. What really matters to me is the long run, what's happening in the next few chapters and how that reflects on this one. But I can't know that until we get to that point. So all I can do for now is nitpick on the small little things that were in this chapter that were self-contained to here. And that's all I really can do. That doesn't mean that Twin Star is taking a downturn or anything. It's just one chapter wasn't outstanding to me. And that's okay. I'm sure the next few chapters will be really great. I'm sure there's going to be another banger chapter before I know it. And that's perfectly fine. So, yeah, that's all I just wanted to preface before we get into the actual review. Oh, and also, you just saw my reaction. Clearly, I enjoyed it. I was having a good time with the chapters. So, even if I have, like, some little criticisms here and there, I still enjoyed the chapter, and you can clearly see that in my reaction. So, yeah, my review's whatever. The important part is I still enjoyed it. Alright, I'm gonna keep this nice, simple, and short because for all intents and purposes, this chapter didn't really give the most to talk about. I mean, the main takeaway from it is the whole, I guess, Kagare and an Exorcist alignment. The two parties finally coming together to work towards a better future for a common goal. And most of the chapters spin on that. I mean, we see a little bit of Sakanashi and him talking about his plan which I guess that to me is more like let's wait and see how that goes, I guess. We got like 2 panels of Benio and honestly nothing meaningful about Benio, which is fine. I didn't really expect to see more about her right now. And pretty much just setting up what's going on with Sakanashi and those Basara and their plan going forward. That's pretty much all we got on that side of things. We got a little bit of content with Suzu and Kamui. To be frank, the whole thing with like Suzu's little friend dying or falling off into the cliff, or like off the cliff, Takari, I mean, to be honest, who actually cares? It's not really like a character, and also not to mention Suzu is not like the character I have the most emotional investment in, so it's not like a big deal. I mean, I guess it gives Suzu something. It gives her like an actual character moment beyond sexually harassing Rokuro, so it's like it's fine there, but it's not like getting much of a reaction out of me, if I'm being honest. And then they gave her this whole thing about like, oh, her family's been protecting this whole inner layer transporter for generations, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we've heard anything about this before. Seems like a little bit of an ass pull to just kind of get them out of here all of a sudden. It's fine. Otherwise, I mean, we would just be trying to, I guess we would just be making it a 2-week jump or something to them getting, back into the human world. So I guess instead of doing that, making it like this whole, it's not a retcon, the kind of ass pull. It's fine. It works. I don't really care. It's not like it drastically changes the situation, or it doesn't retcon anything. It doesn't like downplay any sort of character or undermine anything about the villains and their plans. It's fine. It just serves as a plot device to get them out of here. I do wish maybe we got a little bit more about Suzu on it, to be honest, rather than it just being like, oh, this is the thing my family's been guarding for generations, because it does admittedly kind of make Suzu feel a little bit like a plot device as well, when there's not really much of a story behind it for her. Again, I'm not that offended by it overall, because, again, Suzu's not, like, the character I have the most investment in one way or the other, so I don't really care that much, even if Suzu is just a little bit of a plot device in this instance. It's fine. It's not, like, that big of a deal. I guess other than that, the conflict of like the Outcast Valley deciding to come up to the human world, that's cool. Them debating whether they should or not, whether they should help the Exorcist to stop Sakanashi or not. Yeah, it's a nice scene, nice moment. I am a little, I'm not disappointed that we didn't get more of Myra, but like, admittedly, Tsukino did kind of end off chapter 107 with Myra showing up, and it's like, oh shit, Myra's gonna be here. That's cool. That's interesting. What are we doing with Myra here? What's she gonna do? How is this gonna change things? And she ultimately doesn't do anything for this moment, at least. Which is fine. And the last real, I guess, thing of note is the Basara, the Outcast Valley, Kamui, and all them coming up and talking with the Exorcist about their desire to join forces and take down Sakanashi. And it's good. I think it works. The only maybe a little criticism I have, and I guess we'll kind of see how this is followed up in the future, if there's anything more on this, is just the reaction of the Exorcist to the situation. All the top Exorcists are just immediately willing to kind of accept it for the most part. Most of them are totally down, all the important characters at least. And I get that it's setting up this idea of like empathy, and the Exorcist and Basra are trying to have an understanding of one another. It's just that understanding comes so quickly. Like, it kind of comes immediately. I get it maybe for the Outcast Valley a little bit more, but like Kamui and stuff, I mean, I get that he leans down and says, lob my head off, but like, maybe there's a little bit too quick of an understanding there. And more so than those Exorcists, I wish we could have seen a little bit more of the random people, the lesser Exorcists, the ones that are not 12 Guardians, the ones that are blood bags, the ones that are dying on the battlefield against the Kagare more often. It would have been neat to maybe see a little bit more of them. I mean, there's a little bit of visual storytelling with their faces and their reactions to it, rather than just like what they're saying, maybe. But I guess we'll see how that plays out. I mean, if there is nothing past that ultimately, it's fine. I mean, it's still conveying its message pretty well. Maybe it could go a little bit more into the internal conflict of it a little bit more, the emotional and moral dilemma of working with the Kagare. But at the end of the day, this is kind of the point that Twin Star's been working up to for so long that I don't really mind it. I don't mind it kind of getting to the point. It's just that I also wouldn't have minded seeing a little bit more. Other than that, it's a pretty good chapter for the most part. Nothing exceptional, but I don't think every chapter has to be exceptional. You're gonna sometimes get these chapters that are a little bit more of a in-between. They're setting up something for future chapters, whatever it may be. I think it says a lot that, Sukeno did release the previous 2 chapters together. I think he was excited to show what was going on in those chapters. This isn't a chapter like that, and that's okay. That's something that you kind of have to learn with these series, with series that are ongoing, with any series that's either weekly or monthly. Sometimes you're gonna have a downtime chapter, a chapter that isn't outstanding, that doesn't knock your socks off, and that's okay. It doesn't say anything about where the series is necessarily heading. The next chapter could be a banger, who knows? It doesn't really, this chapter being kind of like only decent doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things, I guess. What's more important is seeing where this whole unification between the Exorcists and the Kagare, where does that go? Do we get cool fights out of it? Do we get interesting pair-ups with characters? Does it lead to nothing and Rokuro just comes in and does all the fighting anyways? Those are the questions that actually matter. Where does it go from here? So, whatever about this chapter. I could take it or leave some of it, but I don't think it actually means much for the next chapter going forward. So, yeah, I mean, overall, it's an alright chapter. If you want something a little bit more hype, go back and read the previous few chapters, because they've been non-stop bangers. Yeah, that's that for this month. I guess we'll have to see what happens next month. And yeah, we'll leave it at that.